Scientific process would just make a big mess. It's the Power of God's Love Podcast 1052. Hey there, Tony here. I don't know about you. Well, I have a pretty good idea about you. But I know I'm not the byproduct of some scientific process. No, I prefer to think of me as God described it, fearfully and wonderfully made. And doesn't that sound a lot more creative and cool? I mean, scientific process, come on, doesn't fearfully and wonderfully made sound a lot better than that?
I'm a product of scientific process. Yes, I am. Random chance and mutations, that's me.
Well, it sounds more creative and it sounds cooler because that is the way it happened. We were fearfully and wonderfully made. The fact that you and I were made, designed by the infinitely creative and one true living, loving God sounds just plain wonderful to me. I hope it does to you. And it's so much cooler to be here on purpose instead of accidentally. Now, I bet you've heard of a double helix, right? It's the best illustration scientists have come up with so far to represent, here's a big old word, deoxyribonucleic acid. You probably know it better by its initials, DNA. And DNA is scientific proof, not process. You and I are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're not just carbon copies of carbon life forms. I mean, yeah, even the term carbon life forms contradicts itself. Anyway, I'm going to share some tidbits of information about information that's inside you right now. Did you know? Almost all of the 30 trillion, yes, that's trillion with a tr, almost all of the 30 trillion cells in your body contain duplicate copies of your DNA. Whoa, that's a lot. Each human cell contains 46 segments. You've probably heard that, right? And you got 23 of those segments from your mom and 23 from your dad. And here's something extra cool. No one else on Earth has the same DNA as you. Nobody else has the same as me either. Just as a side note, I got my facts and figures from a book called In the Beginning by Dr. Walt Brown. And he's not just some guy who calls himself a doctor. He's a PhD from MIT. Does that give him some street cred out there? Oh yeah. All that information is pretty darn cool, wouldn't you say? And the information in the DNA is like a blueprint for how to build you. Only you. It's going to determine how you'll look and much of how you'll act and how every cell in your body will function during your life. But it gets even more interesting. If you took out all the DNA from just one of your cells and uncoiled it, then you connected it and stretched it out, it'd be about 6 feet long. But it would be so thin you couldn't see it, not even with the most powerful microscope in existence. And the coded information found in just one cell could fill a library with somewhere around 4,000 books. And if you took all the DNA in your body and stretched it out end to end, you could go to the moon and back more than 165,000 times. Now, I call that mighty impressive. And how about this? The information found in your DNA could fill books that could fill the Grand Canyon almost 30 times. But on the other hand, you could take one set of DNA from one cell of every person who ever lived and who's living now and put them all in a spoon, and they'd weigh less than an aspirin. When you ponder the power of the scientific discoveries we've made just so far, you should start to get an idea of how fearfully and wonderfully made you truly are. And ain't it better to know you're made instead of just an accidental scientific process? Man, I think so. No matter what you believe about how life got here, you made a choice to believe it. No one, at least virtually no one, is being forced to believe how we all got here. So, question. Why would you want to believe you're just the random result of trillions of mutations, especially when there's so much information inside you that proves just how wrong that is? You're an information-based life form, and the fact that so much information is coded into your DNA proves there must be a super coder. The good news is that coder loves you. He made you a human being in His image and likeness, and He allows you to choose whether to love Him back or not. I say choose wisely. Remember, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There is information locked inside your cells. When you choose to discover why you're here, you'll find out what the information tells. And you'll see you're not just an accident, fumbling through the hours, days, and weeks and years. All the evidence is pointing out the way. Trust your Maker. He'll erase your doubts and fears. By the way, just a little side note, kids who are sent off to government indoctrination camps, also known as public schools, will most likely never learn those facts that I shared with you. But a lot of parents who homeschool their kids make sure that those kids get this kind of knowledge because they realize how much it helps kids grow up with a happier, healthier perspective. If homeschooling sounds like something you'd like to do for your kids or your grandkids, but you don't know where to get started, I recommend that you consider the Charlotte Mason homeschool method, and I'll leave a link for it in the show notes. And that's all I'll say about that right now. I'll get into more of that later. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Power of God's Love podcast. As always, it's brought to you by TonyFunderburk.com, and you can get Tony's daily devotional over there if you go there, or you can just stay tuned and subscribe to this podcast. I've got thousands of people listening every week now, and I'd love to have you be another one of those. And until next time, as I say regularly, look for opportunities to go out there and share the power of God's love.